How's guys? Anton here from Adventure Afrika, and we finally got our hands on the Amarok PanAmericana. Now this is a 3-liter diesel V6 with 184 kilowatts, 600 Newton meters of torque. Sits with a 10-speed gearbox. You've got 4 selections, 2 high, 4 automatic, 4 high and 4 low, and it comes with a proper transfer case, and that is what makes this difference from the previous generation. Previous generation Amarok didn't have a proper transfer case. It worked on a gear system, but this one is a little bit different. But first, let me tell you a little bit about this vehicle. So we've had it now for a couple of, well, almost a week now, and fuel consumption is not really what the manufacturer is quoting. We are sitting currently around about 10.4 liters per 100 k's, and that is quite a bit of highway driving, in-town driving, and we will actually see what happens to the fuel consumption today here on the 4x4 track. But this is really a very nice bakkie. Interior is plush. You can see the touch of Ford in this, because if you didn't know this, all Amaroks in the world, as far as I know, are built in Silverton at the Ford factory, and there's slight hints on this vehicle that you can see it's actually built by Ford. For example, the disc brakes, it actually says Ford Motor Company on it. But anyway, let's hop into this car and see what it actually does on the 4x4 track, because that is really what we are after. Everyone can tell you what it does on the road, but let me tell you what this thing can do on the 4x4 track. Okay, so we are in the VW Amarok PanAmericana, and I have to say the layout is quite nice. Yes, this big screen is here, and unfortunately you still have to press a button to go and change your air conditioning system and stuff like that. But at least everything 4x4 is located right here. So we're going to put the vehicle in neutral, take it from 2 high, that's 2 for auto, 4 high, and then into 4 low. What is nice, that's it, it's in off 4 low now. We've actually got a rear diff-lock, we've got downhill descent control, and what I believe is also, well, let's first see. First obstacle is very small. It's just a little old bumpy here. Just close the window just a little bit, and let's go over. So it has been raining quite a bit. You've got all your different settings here. Apple CarPlay, we don't want that, we want the cameras. All your different settings here, different views of the vehicle. So there's a lot of driver assistance for the 4x4, for the 4x4 track or going off-road. Okay, I want that to shut up. Let's see, where's that? Okay, we're gonna have to listen to this thing scream, because I can't seem to see where to switch that off. Anyway, so the first one here, proper obstacle now. It's not a huge hill, but let's go over and see what it does. I do not have my rear diff-lock on yet, so let's see what happens. I can see nicely on the camera what's happening. It is a bit low. This vehicle sits on 255 65 R18s. I will probably go for 265 70 R18s. That will just give me a little bit of a better ground clearance, but currently that wasn't too bad. We have had some vehicles go over these hills and scraping much more. So we're going to go down now, and then we've got articulations here in front. Now, where this one is different than the previous one, the previous Amarok did not have diff-lock. So what would happen is, as you get into articulation situations and the vehicle lifts, the intelligent traction control first needed to kick in so that it knows which wheel is getting traction and which wheel is not. And it will sort of break your momentum a little bit, but you will be able to get going. What I like about diff-lock, once it's locked in, it just goes through. So we're going to do the articulation first. Let's just see what's happening here. Going over, grip is fairly well, sitting at a decent angle here, and yeah. So now we're going into the articulations. So let's just check out what will happen next. Okay, so we've got the articulations in front of us. Let's try this first without diff-lock and let's see what happens. It has been pretty wet. I think I've said that already. So we've got big puddles of water in these ditches. So traction control is working, but it feels I don't have. That's a problem. Now we have to stop. So here's the thing, I do not want to break this vehicle. I'm sure that if I push it hard enough it will get out, but let's just pop in the diff-lock and let's see what happens now. Now just look at the difference. All of a sudden, all the momentum, all the power, you've got proper traction on both wheels in the rear, and it just works. So yes, traction control on these vehicles work, and they will work when you go through articulations, but once you're going to hit that point where you've got traction, you might just bump. I mean, I'm going so slow over this now. I think I've got my left wheel in the air now. I can feel it. Yep, there, just went down. So yeah, if you've got diff-lock, rather use it and don't need it than need it and it's too late. So I actually kind of like what I saw now. Pity about the traction control, not really as good as I was hoping. I mean, we've been through here with a couple of other vehicles that only uses traction control and they worked fine. This one, I think it can be a little bit better. Little small hill here. Just going to go over it and then we're going to stop. And that's it. Okay, so when we do 4x4ing with these vehicles here at Kungwini, we always try and do the routes twice. Obviously, the first time we have to sit in the vehicle, explain what's happening, etc., etc. Then the second time is just to get the proper footage of the wheels and what is being happening. But my opinion, these wheels, although they are semi all-terrain tires, they're not really proper all-terrain tires. And when we went up the hill the second time, I had wheel spin all of a sudden. First time I was able to get it over in just normal 4 low, no diff-lock. This time I had to put on diff-lock. I had to approach it twice. I had to actually do it a little bit faster than I would have liked it. Well, then I would have liked to have done it. Secondly, when we got into the articulations, again, traction control didn't work as well. But we've already been through this articulations. We have turned up the mud a little bit, but it shouldn't be a problem. So, switched on diff-lock. Still didn't work. The car was spinning, couldn't get traction, and it lurched. And we heard 2 very loud bumps. Now, luckily, we had a look around the vehicle. Nothing is broken. But it's just those little things that, when you get a vehicle like this, as I said in the beginning, get 265s, get some proper all-terrain tires on it if you want to go off-road. If you want to stay just on the road and it's just every now and then you're going to go off-road, these wheels are fine. But if you actually want to start doing 4x4ing, these are not the wheels to do it on. Again, vehicle is not bad. This is not the vehicle's fault. This is most likely the fault of the tire. 255, 65s, they're a little bit thinner, which shouldn't be a problem. I mean, if you look back at the days when the first Land Rovers came out, they came out on those little Maury biscuits and they worked fine. This is all about the pattern on the tire. And I think if it had a little bit of a more aggressive look, a little bit more grip on the sides, we shouldn't have had a problem. But I think we're going to jump in again, going to take it up to the mountain, see what the route looks like there. We're not going to take any chances. As I said, VW is borrowing this for us so that we can tell you guys what we think about it. But I think it is necessary to go up, have a look, and see what we can do with it on a 4x4 trail. Okay, so the VW Amarok PanAmericana. Listen, this is really a beautiful vehicle. The interior is really lovely. I love the seats. I love the leather on the seats. And it's a decent vehicle. I still believe that the tires would make a huge difference. But apart from that, I mean, 184 kilowatts. Do you really need that? And sometimes I would say yes. On the highway, it's just amazing. I mean, you just put your foot down and you've got power to accelerate and take over vehicles. There's no problems, no worries. Just one worry though is those speeding fines, because it's literally a couple of seconds, then you're on 160, 170. So be careful when you drive this, because it will get you into trouble. But apart from that, vehicle drives extremely comfortable. It is a good looking vehicle. Would I take it into Botswana? Well, definitely. I mean, this thing has got an 800 millimeters wading depth. It's got decent ground clearance. Your departure and approach angles are great. Breakover angle are maybe can be improved on a little bit, but again, with a slightly bigger tire, that will be perfect. This is an expensive vehicle. I think the price is just over 1.2 million rand. So for a bakkie, that gets a lot. It's a lot of money. And perhaps that is where we are. I mean, in 2001, 2002, you could get a Toyota Hilux Legend 35 for, I think it was 240,000 rand. That was the top of the range spec, 4x4, no automatic, leather seats, and it was lovely. By 2015, we were looking at over 500,000 rand for a 4x4 double cab top spec vehicle. Today, 10 years later, well, 11 years later, we're sitting at over R1 million for a bakkie. And with the new Toyota Hilux coming in the next couple of weeks, where is this going to end? Yes, and I know you get a lot of vehicle when you pay that price, but I'm not so sure if I'm ready to pay over R1 million for a bakkie. For this one, listen, it's beautiful. It drives like a dream. It looks amazing, and it's locally built. So I'm not sure I'm at 1.2 million rand yet for a bakkie. But overall, brilliant vehicle. If you are looking for one, get inside it. Go and test drive it. It's marvelous to drive. It's got all the safety features that you need. There is lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control. There's cameras and warnings for when people come past you. Everything is inside here. So, looking for an Amarok? Go and test drive it. Make up your own mind. I would say this is a yes for me, but I'm not yet buying it. Anyway, guys, if you like, please share, subscribe, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And thanks for watching. Cheers.